everybody, welcome. Welcome to the half hour of power. We have with us Mark from the Toys of the Time Gone By. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Great, I'm doing all right. I just put my sword up and was like, by the power of Grayskull, and nothing happened.
Huh, that's too bad. Um, you know what you were supposed to say when you raised the sword up like that?
What?
Eye of Thundera, give me sight beyond sight.
I watched Chitara in the bathroom.
Yes, yeah, that's creepy. That was a creepy episode. And we have with us special guest Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
I am doing great.
All right. So we're all doing great.
Great.
I like that red cup though. What you got in that red cup? You know what the red cup represents now.
It's a power cup. It's red. It's a power color.
Oh, I got one too. That's why I asked.
I don't have a red cup.
You want a red cup, Mark?
I don't have one. I don't have any power.
That's probably why the sword didn't work.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. My sword didn't work.
it said power.
Okay.
That was it.
They lied to me.
So we are revisiting the Masters of the Universe movie, the masterpiece.
Yes.
Mark and I
Master.
went over this pretty well with Jesse on the podcast. Go back and check out the Half Hour Power podcast. The link in the description there. Brandon was not able to be on that, and we had some words about it. That was on the Toys of the Time Gone By show, Mark, when we talked a little bit about the Master of the Universe movie.
Yes. It was yep, it was on the it was on the Toys of the Time. Yep. We talked about it a little bit. We talked about the figures and stuff like that based on the movies.
All right, yeah. So we thought we would revisit this for a little bit and have a chat with Brandon about it. See what he thought of the Masters of the Universe.
Well,
Putting you on the spot, Brandon.
I see. Well, that's right on out the gate there.
How
So,
was it?
so it was. Well, let's put it like this. When I was a kid, when my mom brought the movie, and I was excited because I was a He-Man kid. I had all the He-Man toys. Movie came out, and it wasn't like the cartoon. So,
There we go. There we go, Mark.
Whoa!
There we go.
so
That was one of the questions we had on the show. Did you go back and listen to our show about that, Mark?
I did.
That
I
Mark
actually did. Yes, yes, and
Um, now, let
um,
me ask you this, Brandon.
yes.
So you said one of the key things that we thought contributed to the movie not doing as well. If you had known, even as a child, that it wasn't based on the cartoon, would that have changed anything about it for you?
If I didn't see the cartoon,
Yeah, see, I am thinking that even it wouldn't change anything for a child. I don't think it would change for me.
well, okay. So it changed. Okay, so um, the characters that was in there, well, they had like Lizard Man, they had Beast Man in there. Of course, they had Evil Lyn, Skeletor, and they had Blade. Now, Blade wasn't even a character in the He-Man cartoons at all.
That's right,
Okay.
Mark. Where'd Blade come from?
Okay, well, Blade is just basically they wanted to make new characters for the movie, and they figured that if they make new characters for the movie, they can make new toys. Mattel. So Blade basically is they took there's a sort of it's like they tell you that it could have been like maybe Triclops, because he was a master of swordsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to add that to the movie Blade. So they couldn't make they didn't want to make the other characters for the movie because basically budget wise, that's the reason for it. But he was also the stuntman,
Yes,
guy who
that I did know. Yeah.
played. But that's why you don't see all the characters, the original characters in the movie, because there's some of it budget wise they just couldn't do. You see Beastman in there, you see a couple of new characters, but Mattel loved the idea that there was need new characters because they could make new toys.
Yeah, and I get that. I do. I get
Now,
that.
Brandon, so now that you know it wasn't based on the cartoon at your age now, does that change anything for you about the movie?
Yeah, it's just somebody messed up He-Man. That's all I can say about that.
Well,
There's
Well,
other
what I
words,
did is Pressman bought the rights to the action figures, and
right?
like we were talking, like Mark and Jesse and I were discussing, we could not find where that stopped. You know, as far as we
Yeah,
could tell, everything before the cartoon was what
yeah,
he bought.
yeah. And I
So,
try to. I heard that on the podcast. I heard that, and I try to look into it myself. And
did you find anything?
I did not find that one thing because to me, like I said, I get it. He had the rights, but also too, like the argument you said, he had the rights to the toys, which the toys did come with many comics, like the origin toys that are out now. They still come with many comics, and the origin story from the comics to the cartoon was totally different, also. So I didn't follow the toys neither, But the reason when I say what I say that the movie kind of I watch it. Don't get me wrong. I watched it when I was a kid. I watched it when I was older.
You watch it now.
But no, I won't watch it now.
You'll watch it.
No, I won't.
well,
Yes.
another thing
I
about
won't
it,
watch it now.
Brandon,
I
is the
can't.
fact that it was
It's
at the end of
hard.
the line of the toys. They were trying to save what was left back in '87 of the declining sales of the toys. So they were trying to think that this big movie coming out is going to boost the sales of the toys, and it did the actual opposite. It didn't boost anything. It actually, the toys just went from like say 400 million one year to 7 million the next.
So this was the funny thing about this situation because I was trying to look up the Adventures of He-Man, and I couldn't remember when that cartoon series came out.
83.
83. Wow.
And it
It
only
was,
had 2 seasons.
yeah, and you think they would have marketed the movie after that series.
I would agree with you. They should have marketed the movie, even if they did. They gave us a cartoon movie that
Hmm.
was more polished. I think that would have been like a theatrical release cartoon movie.
Yeah.
That would have been good, just like
Yeah.
they did Transformers the movie. And I
Hmm.
think if they would have done that, that would have been a classic today.
Well, see, also too, the only thing that irked me was that yes, there was an attorney in the beginning, and then they used the key, and then the key sent them to our Earth in present day at the time. So I'm like, it was kind of cheesy to me. I can't remember if it was like Beastmasters 2 or Beastmasters 3, and they kind of did that same concept where Beastmaster came to present day Earth, you know, and it was, but it was a mixture because they did some of the stuff in Beastman's universe, and then they came over to our universe and finished it off there. But the He-Man took place literally all through the whole movie in a cheesy town, which it seemed like that's like a 80s cliche of every time they go to a small little town, and then all these magnificent things come, and then all of a sudden a sheriff that don't know anything is like arresting people who are different
Strickland?
and naked. They
What did he
naked.
have to do?
No, it was naked, and
Strickland?
He-Man was naked.
He wasn't naked.
He was naked.
He had pants on.
He had no pants. He had on thong like
So he
thing.
wasn't
Naked.
so he had pants on.
But I wouldn't say that to Mr. Doth in person. So
Well, I mean, he was wearing pants. I mean, Mark's got the poster right behind him where you can see he's wearing something.
ain't they called leotard?
Well, one of the things I will tell you today that even though like there was a lot of like hate toward that movie, today it is known as a classic, and people did come around about it, and they do love the Dolph Lundgren He-Man and the Skeletor, which in fact they made actual figures of those guys for Masters of the Universe Classics, and they look incredible.
Now, Skeletor did scare me when I was little from the movie because that looked it very
He's
real,
good. He did a
very
really
real.
good job, Frank Langella.
Yeah, Franklin
Really good
Jella's
job.
a good one, but I just can't get over the fact that okay, he was just He-Man through the whole movie. And then he did By the Power of Great Skull, but that was like towards the end of the movie, but she was already He-Man.
Yeah. I guess that's to get the power or something like that to destroy the Skelegod. God
Yeah.
Skeletor.
Well, I mean, again, he was never Prince Adam, right?
Originally, he was never Prince Adam. No, he was just
So
a savage He-Man.
there again, they didn't have the rights to that.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, like, okay. Well, the concept of the comics was that there was two swords, and Skeletor had a sword, and of course He-Man has a sword, and Skeletor tried to get
Yes.
He-Man's sword to bring it
Yeah.
together to create the power of the universe. That was the most powerful thing in the universe. So that was what's in the first original comic. If you look at the toy line, you will see that he has the same sword as
Oh
He-Man, but
yeah,
it's purple.
Yes. But that was
Uh,
always the original storyline of it.
mhm.
It changed a bit as far as He-Man, Prince Adam.
Yep.
His armor was a force field armor and all that, and he just was strong because of his force field armor. And it changed a lot. Later on, it was like a work in progress. That's what it was really like, a work. Because even if you read the mini comics, in the mini comics, everything changes so fast. It's like you go from the beginning to reading, and then a couple of issues later, in the mini comics, it's like, okay, where did this come from?
Yep.
Totally different.
Yeah. Because I
now,
mean,
Mark, isn't that one of the other things we couldn't figure out was because all I found was he bought the rights to the toy line, but we couldn't figure out if the comics were included.
Well, that's the thing.
That
Mattel owns all the comics, and Mattel owns all the toys. But the problem is that Filmation also owns certain things too, as far as Prince Adam becoming Prince Adam. They own that story. They gave He-Man what He-Man, like what we see of He-Man now with the whole storyline, is Filmation and Lou Scheimer gave that made that for Mattel. Actually made that whole storyline go forward and finalize it and clean it up. Lou Scheimer did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have what we have now, because in the beginning, they were all over the place. They didn't have really an idea where to go with it. They just really came out and was like, yeah, we have they lied. They went to, oh yeah, we have a toy. Yeah, and they didn't have nothing. Oh yeah, we have a cartoon. Yeah, we have a cartoon. So
Yep.
that's where the commercial came about, where they had to really just kind of like make this cartoon commercial, Filmation, out of nowhere, and be like, yeah, we have a cartoon. So they had got Filmation and Lou Scheimer to make this cartoon that was a commercial. And it was like, yeah, check this out. And they ran that. and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're sold."
Hmm.
And that's
It's
what
like
happened.
it's like the same story for GI Joe. Uh, they did the commercial for the toys, and people was like, "Well, where's the show at? Where's the show? That the commercial was great." And I was like, "Oh, there's no. Oh yeah, there is a show." And I'm like, "No, that was just a commercial."
they just kind of they just kind of made up things as they went along at that time. There was no like they didn't have the money at the time. These little toy companies, they didn't have the money. Hasbro, Kenner, Mattel. It's like they just wanted to make something new, and they were like, "Well, we got to try to figure it out in this small budget we have," and that's what happened. They just worked. They just went along as just okay. Yeah, we have this. Yeah, we have that, and they have nothing.
Yeah.
Just like Star Wars, who didn't even have toys, and they'll give you cardboard and say, "Oh yeah, they're coming out soon." Okay.
So, Brandon, how was Dolph Lundgren as He-Man?
Believe it or not, I liked him as He-Man. Even though I believe that it could have went to Arnold Schwarzenegger, even though he played Conan previously before this movie came out, but he did a good
I
job.
don't.
I mean,
I just don't agree with that.
I'm
Arnold Schwarzenegger as He-Man.
because it's like when you see He-Man.
Matador of Grayskull. Aye.
I
I
mean,
have the power.
what I
Maria.
mean, they was gonna dub over Dorf anyway. They was planning on doing that anyway. So they could have dubbed over Arnold anyway. So it doesn't matter.
I just don't. I get it was like I
It
don't
was
know.
like
I just didn't see Arnold
Father the Great
Schwarzenegger at
Store.
that part. Conan, I understand because he had a very he didn't have like too many lines. I should say as Conan, he would
Yeah, the
say
first.
something in like 2 words or 3 words, and that was it.
Yeah, it was that
So,
this his favorite line that I love so much. If you don't help me, gonna screw you.
I love it. I
I
love
said,
it.
really? That is so
Wait,
awesome.
wait, wait. Is that your favorite line from Conan the Barbarian?
Yes,
You sure?
yes.
You know my favorite line from
What
Conan the
other what other
Barbarian
line
is?
is it?
My favorite line is, "It's not a tumor."
It's a tumor.
That's your
It's not a
favorite line,
tumor.
Mark? Are you sure?
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
Have you guys seen the movie?
I'm
Yes.
kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Okay. What's your favorite line?
I don't
Get
have
to
a
the
favorite
chopper
line.
now. That's right there.
That's your
Now,
favorite.
get to the chopper.
Wow.
That's what he would have said in Masters of the Universe.
Well, basically,
I don't know. There's so many other lines in Conan the Barbarian.
you know,
There's so
where He-Man came from,
so
right?
many much better lines, but all right.
You know where He-Man came from? We're talking about Conan. He actually came from like Conan.
Yeah.
That's
They
where
said
He-Man came from. They kind of messed up a little bit because they won't say it now, but I'm saying it because I think they're all full of crap at Mattel. And Mattel, please, you're full of crap because you tooled a figure that looked like Conan, gave him brown hair, and no no shirt or anything or no nothing. No, you made a concept of him. Then you tooled the figure, and then you couldn't sell the figure because you didn't want to make the figure because the movie for Conan was too violent for you to make the figure. Then you decided, oh, we have all these figures laying around. Let's just use it. Let's use the tooling we did for Conan to make He-Man. And then what you did is you made He-Man with blonde hair. Then you gave away a Savage He-Man, which was really Conan, but you're not saying it. This is no mystery here.
well, here's the other funny part is the original thing. It was called Masters of the Universe. Then when they made that concept with the comics and stuff like that, then it was like, oh, we need a name for the main character. What are we
Well, the
gonna call him?
original wasn't Masters of the Universe,
What was it?
Lords of Power.
Lords of Power.
And they didn't want to use it because of the religious tone of it.
Makes
They didn't
sense.
want to use it.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And you know what the original name for Merman was?
I don't want to know.
Seaman.
That would have been a
No.
great toy.
Okay. So,
I
Brandon,
got semen. Do you? Where?
if this movie was set more or in all on Eternia, would it be better?
Yes.
Now, here's
They
the other
could have
one.
done that. I
Yes.
agree. They
They
could have
could
done
have,
that.
Yes.
and we talked about that in the podcast. Here's the other thing: if the movie had a talented director, would it have been better?
Yes. And I
What?
say I say that. I say that because I seen some directors that are very talented that work with less and made good movies out of it.
Well,
Who?
I
Hmm?
Who?
Let me see. George Lucas, Steven Spielberg,
Spielberg. What did he work with less on?
Indiana Jones.
Get out of here, Indiana Jones.
He did.
Don Coscarelli,
What's Don
I could
Coscarelli?
say
Beastmaster.
something.
Uh, I
That
don't like.
way.
I don't like Beastmaster #1.
What the?
I
Yeah, I
could
don't. I don't
I
like
could
one.
say
I don't
something.
like two
You don't
or
like the
three.
original Beastmaster? Nobody's
No.
talking about the sequels. Nobody likes them.
I
Because
could say something that if you have a good script and you have a director who, let's say, can really utilize the script. Let's say you have a good script and the director talent, like you need it. Yeah, absolutely. I get it. You need a talented director, but even if you have a semi-talented director and you have a good script and he knows how to use the script and he knows how to mill everything together the right way, then you can have a good movie. You don't have to necessarily have a great director.
that's true. I
Well,
agree.
the other part of that is if you can have a mediocre crap director. If he's got money, that will compensate for it.
well,
Gary
well,
Goddard is not a good director. He's not.
well. I
And we talked
mean,
about that a little bit. If you took Don Coscarelli and he made this He-Man movie, it would have been better.
well, like I
And
said,
I
is
I brought him up, Brandon, just because he made Beastmaster a few years before. He didn't have very much at all to work with that. It's set all on one era, one world,
right.
and the movie looks amazing.
And I think this is the reason too why
Yes,
they
it
probably
looks
didn't make a
amazing.
Thundercats
It looks
movie
amazing.
either.
It does. I'm not talking about the quality of the movie. I mean, we can
Okay.
quibble about the
Okay.
story and whatnot at all, but the sets in Beastmaster, the way it looked, the fantasy elements were awesome.
Okay. This is the only thing that ruffles my feathers. Okay. And
What
I say
grinds your
this.
gears?
What grinds my gears about Beastmaster. Okay, so Beastmaster, and this is the one where they were sacrificing children. Okay, and the little girl was falling down the little pit, the little whatever bell or whatever the heck it was, and he sent his faithful falcon and sent them off, and the bird picked up this big girl and flew her off and saved her life. I
That's
said
the
that
only reason you don't like the movie?
no, that's one. That's just one. That's just one.
Well, he's a strong falcon.
I said
There's like
the bird.
there
She
are
was bigger than the bird.
supernatural elements at work there, Brandon. Okay, so you're not talking about. I'm talking about set design, the way the movie looked, that type of
No,
stuff.
well,
I
yeah,
mean, that's a
no. There's
story element. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can see that,
yeah,
but
no. The set design it fit the time period for the character, and it was beautiful. I'm not gonna lie about that. But they could have done the same thing as they did with Beastmaster. They could have done it in Masters of the Universe,
that's all I was really getting at was really that they
even
could have
though
done it
even though
But I
because
Beastmaster
I mean,
think
sucks.
Ken and Yeah.
I think
Canon,
that because
unfortunately,
of
Canon Group had the rights, and they didn't have any money. And at the time they got this, they were really in a bad way.
So
And they
here's my
cut the
question.
budget down, way, way down for Masters of the Universe and Superman 4.
Yeah, so that's my question with that. So when did Canon get the rights to Superman? Because
After,
I didn't even know Canon had it. Did they did the Quest for Peace? I didn't know that the Canon Group did that.
yeah, after Superman 3.
Hmm.
Yep, they got that after Superman 3 because the Salkins didn't think there was anything left in it, even though they made a Superman 3 was still a blockbuster. Um, so they sold it to Canon, who couldn't do anything with it. Canon also had the rights to Spider-Man, and Superman was their test run. So
So
wow.
they messed up. Well, at least they didn't do Spider Man.
be thankful that they messed up the budget
You
on
know what?
Superman and Masters of the Universe. But I got to say this because we're talking about Superman. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace is a better Superman movie than Man of Steel. Okay, I won't say anymore. But you can say something, Brad, if you want. You can flip me the
You
bird.
know what?
Call me a
I
name.
really
I'm
enjoy
fine.
Canon
It's
films.
okay. It's
I
okay.
really enjoy
The thing about Man of Steel.
it.
It is an awesome movie, and I'm gonna keep telling you that is awesome. And Superman 4 sucks. With what was it? The Sun Superman. That's what it was.
I was Superman. Man of Steel is awesome. I was in awe of how bad it was.
You know what?
You just can't get over the part that Kevin Costner and Superman he was at the bridge, he was by the car, there's a tornado. You like, why couldn't he just shoot over there and go get him? Nobody can see him. He's the fastest man in the world. I said, because his dad had to die for him to learn that he can't just save everybody with his powers.
Yeah, that's really bad writing. Everybody who wants to write scripts, listen to that. That's terrible, terrible writing. Horrible writing.
You know, I really enjoy Canon films.
Beyond
I did like Canon films.
beyond this Master Universe and beyond Superman 4, they do have some good stuff. You got the missing in actions.
Oh, they got that one
I
movie
like
with
Cyborg.
Sylvester Stallone.
You got Over the Top.
Yeah, when he's just an
Oh,
arm
Over the Top
wrestler.
is great.
You got the break-in movies. Come on.
I like Cyborg. I
Cyborg.
thought
Okay,
Cyborg was
okay.
good.
So I found out about that Cyborg. That technically was supposed to be the sequel to the Master Universe.
Yeah.
That's right.
I found that
Yeah.
out. I was like, really?
Well,
Wow.
it was supposed to
Absolutely.
be, and I really wish there was a sequel to the movie, but I was thinking that I think because of the failure of that movie, I don't think a Thundercats movie they were going to make a Thundercats movie
I
because
hope not.
of the failure of the Masters of the Universe movie.
I hope they don't do that. God
But I'm
dang.
saying they still are talking about making a Thundercats movie, and forever already, and I'm not sure if they're going to even. They were talking about making a Thundercats movie, a Voltron movie, and they haven't made any of them yet. They are
Well,
working on a new He-Man in the Masters of the Universe movie.
see,
And
that's the
God
second
hope,
time. That's the second time they brought that up because the first they was supposed to make a He-Man movie, and then they canceled it,
yeah,
and then because it was actually supposed to come out 2019, but they canceled it mid-production. They say, and then that was it, and you hear no more about it.
but now they started doing it with a different actor now.
Mm.
So, but it's like we're waiting forever for a new movie. I'm just wondering how good it's going to be. I hope.
Well,
They
let me
mess it up.
ask you guys this: do we really want a new one?
Yes.
In this day and age, with what they're doing with movies and how they're screwing them all up anyway, do we
I don't.
really want a new Master of the Universe movie?
Well, Joe, I don't know if they just brought back a sequel to Willow. Why
Do we
not?
want that? I don't want that.
It's already happening. It's a series.
No, I know what you're saying, but I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a case where Disney
Yeah.
buys Star Wars, guaranteed moneymaker. They
Yeah.
screw it up and devalue Star Wars so
Well,
bad.
well,
We
see,
really, really want a new Masters of the
well,
Universe.
see, well, see. The argument with that was is who hands they put it in, because
Kennedy,
this
Kathleen
hell,
Kennedy.
no, fuck Kathleen.
If you really want to, I mean,
No, I don't.
I'm
You
sure she was
know,
a looker in her day.
No,
do you
she
know
wasn't.
what they told? Do you know what they told Mattel told the canon that was making the movie? They told them He-Man cannot kill anyone in
Yes,
the movie.
I heard that. Yeah.
Now, at the time, they wanted kids watching this movie. They did not want He-Man killing anybody in the movie because He-Man is supposed to be like this big barbarian with a big sword, but he can't kill nobody like Conan can.
Yeah.
So, what is going to happen now as far as them making a He-Man movie? Are they going to say, well, we're going to go a Game of Thrones way with He-Man, or are we going to keep it kid friendly to where He-Man doesn't kill anybody? Like maybe, like if you think about, are they going to make like a movie like, say, Avengers or Avengers 2 or Endgame or one of those as basically a blockbuster He-Man movie with all the characters, but nobody can kill anybody, and they all just fight Skeletor and they fight Ram Man and they fight all of them fight together.
No, they
I
will.
wonder if they're going to do it to where it's going to be like a Guardians of the Galaxy with a little comedic tone to it. I just always wonder
See,
if they do something like
that's
that.
kind of what worries me. What are they going to do with it? I mean, because let's look at this 2011 Conan the Barbarian.
Oh God.
Exactly. Exactly. It had a pretty good cast. It had a crappy director.
Yes, they did.
Come on. I mean, that was like, I could
But
have done without that, and it was a
but
failure.
but
So,
to what Mark's
do we
saying
really
though,
want this? Are we satisfied with this mediocre He-Man movie, or are we going to really want to take a chance of them just screwing it up?
Well, this
Because
He-Man
the
movie
track
will
record
always be.
for me, from what I can see, they're just going to screw it up.
well, I don't think so. That's because of watching the He-Man, is it Revelation? He-Man
So if you
Revelation.
take the creative team from Revelation to make this movie, I mean,
Well, the
is that
thing
what
is,
you want?
remember, well, the thing in there in the cartoon which kids watched, they killed some of the main characters in the show.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some of the star characters in the show, they killed them.
I
You
guess
know,
Mattel changed their mind. It's like, yeah, don't worry, you can kill anybody now.
yeah,
Doesn't
So,
matter.
and I
am I
believe
getting
that
some?
if we like we directing the movie, if if they do the movie, I
Do
do
do.
see it being either a PG-13 or a rated R movie.
I
So
don't.
do
I
you
think
want
PG-13 more. I think so.
you really want a new He-Man movie, Mark, live action?
I would like to see a new He-Man movie, but this He-Man movie will always stay as far to me as a classic He-Man movie that I will enjoy
Say a cult
for a
classic.
long time. You know, but the cartoon, the Filmation cartoon, for me will always be the best He-Man cartoon.
Mhm.
It's the first one, but it always be the place where they established all the characters, and it's good and it looks good. It's a nice wholesome cartoon with a good story to it, and just all those little the end when he says all those like when he gives you advice and all at the end and all that.
Yeah.
I feel that really was good for the time. Give you all this good advice, but you have to. It's a different time, but I still would love to see more of that. You know what I'm saying? Today.
Yeah.
Because like I have the comic of, and it'd be great if they ever do it. It's DC comic. It's DC ran. It was when it's He-Man and the Thundercats.
I seen that. Yeah,
I have that whole series, and the way how they did it was beautiful. And if they ever wanted to do a Thundercats to introduce a Thundercats and He-Man universe at the same time, that'd be the best way to do it.
I'd rather
Because
see
majority of,
that. I'd
huh?
rather see that.
Because I'm saying that right there, most of us already know, you know, the
Yeah.
starter of He-Man and Thundercats. Even some of the younger kids now, they know who Thundercats are. They know who He-Man is. But I'm kind of sick of the origin story stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, Brandon. I would rather see just a He-Man Thundercat movie and see what that would be rather than just the
And then they do
standalone
the
origin stuff that we already know. Everybody already
right,
knows.
and then it'll just be spin-offs off of just that, because they
Yeah.
they said like the sort of Thundera power range from Eternia, because Eternia is like the powerful thing in the whole universe. It ties everything together. So it's not from Eternia, but the power comes from Eternia that powers the sword,
Hmm.
and that's how they end up meeting in the same universe. And it was
That would
pretty
be
it was
cool.
pretty good. It's really good.
well,
Mumra and Skeletor merged together.
if you think about it, what they're doing now with Origins and including, you know, these lines, like these new lines, like Sunman, right?
Yeah, something, man.
They could. What I'm thinking they could do here is they could do something like that, Thundercats, Master Universe, Sunman, and just put them all together and be like, let's just have an all-out brawl. You know, throw in the Galaxy Warriors too from
Oh wow.
Remco,
Yeah.
a newbie, and Boltard.
Yeah, let's do it.
I
Um,
mean, this is where that's just more like crossing, world different worlds together and all that. But we also got to start somewhere because Thundercats doesn't have a movie yet, and we're still waiting on another He-Man movie. And you know, those things, they cross them together in DC Comics and stuff. But there's always a possibility of later on when they get more, when they start these movies and things like that, or maybe new cartoons. They can even do a cartoon about that.
yeah,
I
that would
think
be
it would be
cool.
cool to see a cartoon.
I think it'd be more beneficial when it comes to certain um, movies that are adapting from a cartoon, that just keep it as a cartoon.
Well, yeah, you know what? That's definitely agree about that. Keeping it as a cartoon
Yeah.
because it just worked, just like Transformers the movie back in the day in '86, and that movie there really is a classic. It's a great movie,
I love that movie.
but they should have did the same thing with He-Man. They should have made it. They did make a couple of different movies, like Sheeran is the Secret of the Sword with He-Man in it. But
Right.
those were, you know, I'm talking about a He-Man movie that was a theatrical release, like call it He-Man and the Masters of the Universe movie, like the movie or whatever it is,
Yeah,
and
like Transformers.
put it in the theater and get some different voice talent or whatever it is, like they did in Transformers the movie. Get some uh, big names to do voice talent in it, and I think that would have become a major classic now.
Yep.
That if they did it that way, but this I'll be honest, this live action one, it's got a place in my heart. You know what I mean? This I could watch it again, over
It,
and over again.
I guess it's just so hard for me to watch. Well, to watch it now as an adult now, it's hard because I seen it just seem like when I go through movies and I watch older movies, it seems like I see the same small town cliche of you're just showing up here and blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and then you go back home to your planet. I've seen Earth a lot. Okay, I know what it looks like. I want to see what your planet looks like. Like
Well, you got in the beginning a little bit.
yeah, just a little bit in the
Yep.
beginning. Then you get a little bit in kind of towards the middle, towards the end, and then after that, that's it.
They were
You
like,
know,
I'm sure sitting down in that throwing like different different bouncing off creativity with each other at that point. They were like, you know what? Let's take He-Man and put him in Earth. Yeah,
yeah.
why don't we do that? That would be great. Let's just take him out of Eternia
And
and
see,
make him go into Earth.
and in Filmation, they had it. Okay, so he may go into Earth. It does kind of set the tone because his mother is from Earth.
Morlana.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yes, I get it. Yo, he goes
But
into
his
the
mother
kingdom.
wasn't there.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
And no king.
Well,
yeah.
you guys both know why it was set on Earth, right?
No, why?
No money.
Exactly. I mean,
That was it. That was because of the
There's
money.
no
they didn't have
money.
any
You,
money.
you could
Yeah.
you could have put that
Jeez.
in. You could have went to the desert.
Well,
Hey,
see,
if they wanted to, I
that's
would
what
have
I
gave them
was
my piggy bank.
that's
Maybe
what
would
I was
have got a
getting at
little
with
bit more.
the Beastmaster. They could have done it.
They could
You know
have
what I'm
done it.
saying?
They could
They
have
could
done it,
have.
but I think their thought was we could save money if we set it in present day Earth.
They
Well,
spent all their money
But they
on that.
didn't save any money. It actually went over budget. It cost more.
I bet you in a
They
small
spent all their
town, they
money on
probably
that
text the
interior.
mess out
It
of
cost
them.
$22 million.
You see that interior? That was
It went over
beautiful.
budget.
That interior, Castle Grayskull interior, was
Yeah,
beautiful.
and that was
They
Yeah,
spent
a
all
really
their
good
money
set,
on it.
and that
Huh?
they
was one
said
of
it
the
was.
largest sets.
Yeah, they said it was two sound stages that they knocked down the wall to build that.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure they didn't have to do that. They could have probably budgeted that, and they even cut out a lot of the fight that they
Yeah,
had Skeletor and
yeah,
He-Man.
yeah.
They cut it
So
out.
here you go, Brendan. So Conan the Barbarian. You know how much
hmm
that cost?
Um, well, their budget, how much their budget was
Yeah, estimated budget.
for I said Conan O'Brien. Wow.
Team Coco.
Wow. Okay. Because Conan didn't really. So that was what 83. So I want to say 15 million.
You're really close. 20 million.
20 million.
All set in Conan's world.
All
20 million.
practical sets made.
Estimated budget.
That's when you know there's somebody who
Masters of the
knows how to
Universe.
budget. That's what it is.
22 million.
Somebody
Now
knew
that,
how to
but the
budget.
original budget for the Master of the Universe was 17 million.
Somebody knew how to
Really?
budget in
Yeah.
Conan, and they didn't
So
know
it
how
went
to
up.
budget.
Well, there you got. You also have this. We're talking about that. This a little bit earlier. You have a really good director on Conan the Barbarian,
Mm.
and you got Gary Goddard on Masters of the Universe.
That's why Conan movies are several of the top movies from back then.
Yeah, I mean that
Or the
one.
top
I mean,
movies.
and the
Huh?
same with Beastmaster. You have a really good director, Don Coscarelli.
So you're talking about you could have stretched that budget if you had a person that knew what they were doing. Basically.
Yeah, so I mean, this was his first movie. This guy, and he's a everything I read about him, he's a scumball. So, I mean that's the whole. I mean, he's a dude. He's a scumbag. This guy. So I mean, I ain't trying to defend this dude at all in any way, but he is a crappy, crappy director, and he's a crappy person to boot. So him being a crappy person is,
Let me tell you.
separate from him being a crappy director because he's not really made that much anyway. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never met Don Coscarelli. I have never I've never met John Millis. They could be crappy people too, but they're good directors. So, I mean, Brandy, you were saying it earlier. That goes a long way, having somebody who can do so much with so little.
Yeah.
But you
I
had
mean,
somebody who couldn't do anything. I mean, we talked about it on the podcast. That guy got hired because he did a flipping stage show for Conan. I mean, that's really different than shooting the movies. I mean,
yeah, stage is totally different
so,
from film.
yeah.
So
So, well,
I,
this has been a lot of fun going back here and revisiting
yeah.
this. It was fun to
yeah,
hear Brandon talk about it and kind of confirm some of the things we were talking about on the podcast that, he didn't know it was based on that. It would have been better, which we agreed with. It would have been better if it was based on the cartoon than they did
Oh,
Marvel.
absolutely.
yeah, because we thought Blade was another character. We was like, no, that's 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 so and so, and they're like, no, that's not so and so.
No.
Yep.
There was
Yeah,
So
another.
exactly.
There was other characters in there that weren't in the toys either. It was you saw the one they killed in the beginning. He just evaporated that one.
That's right.
oh,
Brandon, you got any final thoughts on this?
yes, we didn't say anything about Gwendar,
Guldar, yeah,
Oh, Wildor, yeah, he was
yeah.
great.
but no, it is a cult classic. Don't get me wrong. Me personally, would I personally sit down and watch it? No,
Hey,
but you
we can't
know,
always like cult classics. There are cult classics, movies
yeah,
considered cult classics that I don't like.
yeah, of course, but and it was good. It was a good movie for its time. You know, um, if they remake
What
another
does that
one,
mean?
what's that mean? That
I
means
don't,
that
I don't, I don't understand the phrase. It
it was
was
a good
good
movie.
for its
It was a
time.
good movie for its time.
I don't think it was a good movie for its time.
Hey, Joe, it was
Well,
iconic.
it was an iconic movie. I mean, I enjoy the movie for what it is. I can watch it; it's fine, but it's not a good movie. It's not.
But the actors and the actresses that are in that movie, they came a long way. They put their spin on there. They did what they needed to do.
Courtney
I'll leave it
Cox.
at
Yeah.
that.
Courtney Cox.
Well, Mark, this is our second go round on this movie. You got any second final thoughts?
Well, my final thought, I think, is that I always did like this movie, and I know not a lot of people really embraced it, but I remember seeing it as a kid back in when it came out, and I was so excited to see this movie, and I wasn't disappointed. I really enjoyed it, even the fact that I never thought twice about the fact that there was missing the Battle Cat or missing Orko at the time. I was just so happy to see He-Man and Skeletor on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day and all that, I could watch this movie again probably 10 more times. That's just the way I feel about it.
Well, very good. It's I like the movie. I understand it's not a good movie,
And we know you love it.
but I like it. I can
You
still
love
watch
it. You love it.
it. And
You
yet,
gonna get off here and watch it right now
no.
for
But yeah,
nostalgia.
it really is true what I said the last time. I do think this is a better movie than Man of Steel.
I just like watching my action figures on my cabinet.
No, it's not.
All right. What?
It's not. It's not. We're not gonna
Not
go into this.
not?
We're not doing it. No, I'm not gonna do
Okay. Fair enough.
it.
All right. We'll catch everybody next time.